coo-coo legislation being proposed in Congress aims to make it illegal to tell people whether or not you have a security clearance. Hi, this is Lindy Kaiser of clearancejobs.com. Another day, another chance for Congress to do something dumb. There was a bill that was pushed out the end of last week. I think it's the Revolving Door Security Clearance Act something. There's 0.0 chance that this bill will ever become a law as far as I know. It's proposed in the House. We have to get through the Senate. There are actually a few senators who understand what a security clearance is, so I don't think it's going to happen. It relates to the politicization of the security clearance process around the Hunter Biden laptop, Russian disinformation fiasco scandal. I don't want to talk about any of that. It's a mess. But what the legislation says is, hey, we think there's people in the deep state who are profiting from their security clearances, so we aim to make it illegal for them to tell people if they have a security clearance, and if they do, we can send them to jail. Again, this is not going to pass, but when I hear chatter about that, there's already been articles published about jail time for disclosing your security clearance. We know a lot of people don't actually read the articles, they just read the headlines, so I want to say, hey, if you have a security clearance, no, it is not currently illegal to say if you have a security clearance. I don't think that will ever be the case. But I do get that question asked. Hey, if I have a security clearance, can I tell people? And then also ties into a related facility security clearance policy from the NISPOM. So for contractors who have cleared facilities, there is verbiage in there related to advertising your clearance. We get asked about that pretty often at clearance jobs too. Hey, can I tell people that I have a facility security clearance because of this advertising verbiage? It specifically outlines that you can say that you have an FCL, and you can say, particularly as it pertains to employment or telling folks that you need cleared employees, there is nothing wrong with that. There is no prohibition around that. It's basically around being kind of swarmy and trying to profit off of your FCL in kind of a way that just is not good for national security. When it comes to telling people if you have a security clearance, very much so at clearance jobs, we do not tell people to go right on their front door, hey, TSSCI, hire me. We also caution about it on sites like LinkedIn often. I cringe every time I see somebody who has their name TSSCI in their profile. It's just not necessary. If there are secret squirrel hunters out there who are looking for cleared talent, they're on clearance jobs where everything's password protected and we're protecting your information, or they are able to figure out based on your employment history if you have a clearance. You can include it on your resume. There's been guidelines and guidance about that. But we say certainly don't advertise or promote your security clearance in a super proactive way. There are certainly reasonable ways to note that you have a security clearance. This is going to get a lot broader with the announcement also last week that the entire federal government and supporting population will be enrolled in a continuous vetting program for the public trust population. So I think what we're saying here is there's going to be more people involved in some vetting. The definition or difference between having a security clearance and being a trusted individual, we're looking at a lot bigger, broader bucket. Everyone should know that anything you do online, you are putting yourself out there. Be cautious. But again, this legislation is kind of going to another extreme, and it very much bashes the security clearance population in the language of it, which gets me all riled up. We need more people willing to work in national security positions. People are not doing this work for the money, although there can be money to be had, but they are doing it because they want to give back. And so this notion around the deep state just lacks, it's obfuscation. It's just trying to kind of throw the national security community under the bus in a really ineffective and unhelpful way. So what we will say, and what I will say from my vantage point is, again, this is just a policy. This is a proposal. This is expressing one nuanced opinion from one very specific segment of Congress, which doesn't even have to get a security clearance, which you can also read about over at clearancejobs.com. But for those of you in the security clearance community, again, this is a question I have gotten. So I just want to say, you can put your clearance level on your resume. You can put your clearance information, you can provide it to potential employers, but it is just certainly a self-protective avenue of not opening yourself up unnecessarily to, I don't think you need to lead with the fact that you have a security clearance if you are an aerospace engineer working at a Big 10 contractor. We can figure it out. We can fill in the boxes and know that without having to be very forthcoming about that clearance level. And certainly looking at positions and applying for positions that say, hey, you have to already have this clearance level, and making sure you're applying for the positions at the clearance level that you have is another way to clarify that. And employers, especially in the national security space, are very good at looking up your eligibility. That's why if they call and ask you certain questions, vet and verify that that employer needs to get that information. But the reason they're asking is because they're trying to verify their clearance, your clearance on their end, and certainly have means to do that. So for now, no, it's not illegal to tell people that you have a security clearance. That legislation is really silly. We love you, national security workers. We need people with security clearances doing this mission critical work, and we know that you're in it for the mission. So again, don't follow the crazy headlines. Follow us at Clearance Jobs, where we provide you news you can use about the actual policy and what's happening today, and not I don't even know what to call it. It's silly. It's just silly. Let's pass a budget. How about that, Congress? So for more actual news, visit us over at clearancejobs.com.